All right, I have a question for everybody that is a German subscriber or people who have lived in Germany at some point in their life or knows a lot of German people, because this is a question that has been brewing in my mind that I forgot to ask for literal years. Germany obviously has this thing about, I have to use this term very carefully because YouTube and the yellow dollar sign are best friends when it comes to this topic. But we talked about this before. So, actually, say it in German, because it doesn't pick up on that. It won't pick up on that if it's in German. But the places where you pay to play, if you know what I mean, like Hamburg, the Reeperbahn, right? Boom. What do people in Germany think when they see somebody walk in there, right? Like, you know, like, oh, you're walking down the street and stuff. You're like just having fun with friends, but then you see somebody actually walk in there, like on some like serious intentions type stuff. Like, oh, okay, like I actually want to get this done, you know, because I there's like all these things. Like, imagine if like the theme of selling your body kind of, right, for purposes was legal in all of America. It's legal in Nevada and I think one other place, but it's not legal in all of America. So people already have an idea, like socially, like basically, is it socially acceptable to partake in those festivities in Germany as a German person? Or even, I know as a tourist, obviously people expect it. They can't enjoy it in their own country. So like, oh, Germany has a whole lot of these. We could just enjoy ourselves. Is it socially acceptable? Because I feel like, let's say you're not getting a lot of action from, like, let's say your girlfriend or some shit like that out there in Germany. You're like, you know what? I'll just pay for it. Skip the argument, skip the whatever, the wine and dine, just go straight to the establishments. What do people think? I'm curious, very curious, because that's not a thing here in America at all, besides Nevada, right? I think they have like a bunny ranch somewhere too, where that is a thing. And that's also in Nevada. That's in Nevada. Oh my God. But anyways, do you guys get my question?
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wer beginnt?
I would say like in the role that is in Discord or I don't know.
So, ich würde sagen, Carrie beginnt, dann Ententurbo, German Chocolate und dann geht's weiter.
You.
Okay.
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 Carrie, you start.
I can't really say anything about it. I think as a woman, I don't know.
Because
Well, you can give your simple opinion on what you think about that industry then, I guess.
yeah, do you think it's an industry that should go away? Do you think that it's an industry that helps people? Because from my perspective, I'm not a German person at all. I'm not from Germany or whatever, but I can see how it could be beneficial if it's just people that want to, like, you know, partake in some, you know, festivities and stuff like that. I feel like they've made it legalized in a way where people get paid and they have the right to leave. They want to leave. They get they get health insurance. It's like an actual job, you know what I mean? But at the same time, for the people partaking in it and stuff like that, like they can if they want to. If not, I get it, you know. But I think I always thought low key that maybe women might feel like not just women, but maybe everybody like might secretly feel a bit like weird about it a little bit, you know? Like it's like, dang, like you could just literally go out there and get it if you want. Like you don't have to put in any effort talking to anybody. You could just go to an establishment, get it really quick anywhere, right? Like anywhere that has it, and boom. Is that like I don't know, how do people generally view it? Is there like a public like I don't know, disdain for it, or do people just accept it and that's kind of like things that are talked about behind closed doors? I have no idea, because to me that's just a very like out there theme. I'm trying to use general terms so YouTube is not like, what are you talking about, my God? Emotional damage.
For me personally, it's nothing I would consider, but I'm not like, oh, they're doing that, that's something bad.
Yeah.
I think it's good within a legal concept.
Yeah.
So they're not being exploited or anything.
Okay, yeah, that exactly. And I feel like the workers are not being exploited, of course, but I felt like from people who partake in it, right? I always thought secretly that maybe like society in Germany might not. I mean, it's something that's been in Germany forever, so obviously they accept it. But like, maybe with the way that the internet's shifting a little bit, maybe people are like, oh, like this shouldn't be a thing. Like, why are people paying for it? That you should work hard to earn that. You know what I mean? Or like earn it the way everybody else does. Like just go and meet people at a bar or meet through friends or something like that, instead of like, you know, cheat coding it up and going in there with like $50 and then doing your thing and coming out. You know what I mean? Like, I was curious as to how people view that. Like, if you were with friends, right? Because maybe none of us here are judgmental, but if you're with friends and like they saw somebody walk into one of those establishments, or better yet, let's use a more interesting theme. You're there, you're in a location that has one of these establishments, and let's say you're like in high school and you see your teacher walk in there, like you're like, what the heck?
Sorry.
Like, what would you think? Like, would you think anything like, oh, that's normal? Like, you're like, oh, what the heck? Like, you know, like, I don't know. That to me is like, it's shocking to me because it's not something that is talked about like that here. And so when I saw that was like something that's legal in Germany, I'm like, I wonder if anybody feels like weird about it. I'm not saying anybody should. I'm just curious about how people feel about it over there. Because I think, like, just like Brazelman says, like, well, he's a human with human needs. Absolutely. I agree with that. But I feel like in America, people get bashed so much for things that are normal, I feel like, right? Like,
I think it's maybe because I heard so far, maybe it's a cliche or something like that, that Americans are more prudish
yes,
than Germans. Maybe that's the reason why.
True. That makes a lot of sense. 'Cause they definitely are. I mean, we are definitely very prudish. I've seen like a lot of very interesting double takes, like weird takes on situations where I'm like, but you guys secretly like this. Like, I feel like people bash things that they can't partake in, right? Like politicians. I feel like politicians are the most boneless creatures on the planet. All of them, for the most part. I'd say 90% of them for sure, right? Because let's say for years, legalizing of green. I can't even say that word without YouTube being flagged. But legalizing of green, right? Nowadays,
the good.
yeah, exactly. Nowadays like, wow, it's a great thing. There are still some, you know, far right politicians that are like, no, you're ruining society. No, you know what I mean? Like, and of course they don't get any votes. So, like basically, you have people back in the day, those same politicians that were like that are for it now. They were wildly against it back in the day for reasons that had no spine, no backing. Like they were just like, but they were basically personal driven reasons. I'm like, bro, like what the heck? And then they switch up. They're like, oh no, like we should definitely legalize it now and whatnot. So I feel like it's the same when it comes to themes like this. I feel like if we legalized the establishments that are in Germany and America all over the US, everybody would, not everybody, but most people would be for it. I feel like most people would be for it. Like, well, hey,
Yeah, in Germany too.
boom.
And
not my turn yet.
I'm sorry, there's a synonym for the W stuff in Germany, like grass. This and it's funny because it's the same that cows eat. So maybe you can use grass in the future as a synonym for
Grass. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, grass.
Or boobats.
Yep, grass.
or boobat.
Boobats, yeah. Boobats are grass.
But grass is the same in English and German, so it would
Yeah.
be more remarkable, I guess.
Yeah,
But yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. Dave from Germany says it's comparable to the States with having MJ legalized. It's there, you know it, but you're still surprised when a friend or family member does it. Unless there is a documentary or you have actually interaction with the subject, no one thinks about it. It's legal. Whoever needs it uses it. The rest don't care. That's a very good explanation. Then that pretty much answers my question because I was like, I wonder how people feel about that. Like if I don't know. I obviously as a single person and stuff like that, if you went out and explored that and that was like your way of just relieving yourself and stuff like that, good on you. But if not, also good on you. It doesn't really matter. I guess it's like, do you smoke? Yeah. Or do you smoke? No. I mean, if you do, cool. If you don't, cool. It is surprising to find out who does and who doesn't, though. It is very surprising because sometimes you think like the most like uptight people in the world would never touch grass within 1,000-mile radius, right? But then they're the main ones doing it. You're like, oh, dang. Like, oh, you get lit, huh? That's crazy. I didn't know that. So I guess that concludes that topic. I wanted to kind of address that and see what you guys think. The people who are watching this on YouTube, let me know what you think in the comments down below, because I think it is a very interesting topic that a lot of people in the US are curious about, that probably want to know from people who actually live in Germany. I mean, it's a social norm there, because I know Americans going to Germany would be like, oh my God, why is this legal? This is like, oh my God, this is not cool. Like, what? But they're saying that because it's not socially acceptable in America, you know?
And about that, maybe one to hear another. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just about Carrie shared her thoughts about it. Maybe Enten Turbo can tell next what he thinks about the topic about S workers and all that.
Oh wait, you mean in
or not?
And wait, for who?
We wanted to let everyone tell their opinions about it, and next one would be Enten Turbo. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
The thing is, I'm not 18 because I can't talk from experience. I only saw like once or twice people walking in like those establishments. So the first thought you have is like, in German we say "notgeile Sau." I think it would be
emergency horny pig.
Oh, that makes sense. It's like you gotta get it done now. Like I need it now. Yeah. Like you run in and you're like sweating profusely.
It's like one of those themes that is like a taboo tema. Like you realize it, but you ignore it.
Yeah,
taboo topic. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Taboo topic. You
sometimes
you ignore it. So I think Germany has a very good, or did it a very good way to make this establishment legal, or this whole industry legal. But I think how you said in America, or how many said in America, it wouldn't be possible because Americans have like a completely different character or completely different mindset on going on those themes or topics. Because in America, it sounds like a bit harsh, but everything is much more dramatic. Everything is much more talking about, like those shows, like just those shows, Father Not Father, or how they called. It's astonishing how much they talk about this, and they can't just be like, oh, okay, fine, I live my life. So I think that's the only thing where Germany did it. Wait, I think most of your viewers are German, so I think they would understand if I could just say that one sentence.
Exactly, yeah.
Deutschen haben da eine andere Akzeptanz einfach zu solchen Themen und haben da eine andere Art und Weise, mit denen umzugehen.
Yeah, Germans are differently more accepting of it in a different way.
More accepting and just just like, okay, live with it.
That makes sense.
Like my opinion.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All right, Jojo, take care.
It's true. I mean, Germany and Europe in general are just more liberal with their bodies and the way that we are taught about, intercourse, and we're just, I don't know, we're just more open. And coming to the United States, everything is like hush hush, but then behind closed doors, everybody's like exploring and doing crazy crap.
Yes.
It's starting from young teenage days on, but in public everything is like overly
censored and stuff. It's so weird, I think.
Yeah, overly, how you say, most of what's taught in school in the United States when it comes to sex ed is basically abstinence. That's it.
Yeah, just don't do it.
So a lot of do it, and a lot of teenagers are just so they don't know anything else.
Yeah.
They don't know about protections. They don't know really about how easy it is to get pregnant. They don't know that much about STDs, yada, yada, yada. It just depends on what state, I guess, also you go to school to.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's the more conservative states, those schools literally only teach abstinence and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're in more liberal states, then you get a little bit more information, but the story is the same everywhere, you know. And then when it comes to the industry portion of it, I truly believe that it should be legalized here because it would help protect those women,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yes.
When you go into the cities, large cities, where you go, they call them streetwalkers. They walk on the streets to get picked up by strangers and make their money that way. There are so many deaths and so many abuse and so much underage. I mean, literally children who ran away from home, number one, ran away, or they were abducted from home and they're being forced into it. It's very present here in the States, and that's scary.
Yeah.
That's very scary.
It's messed up, and I feel like a lot of what's happening now has everything to do with what we were talking about earlier, meaning religion, right? I feel like religion has somewhat interwebbed itself into law making and social acceptability in American culture, and it's kind of ruined the chances of things that are right now heinous crimes, and they're able to be exploited to like, you know, things that are otherwise legal elsewhere in the world, and they have a system to make it safe. You know, people, I honestly, I would highly doubt that in the next 50 years, anything like that would be brought into, brought to fortitude simply because of how we've established the country already and who's running the country as far as just the general age gap, and then the old beliefs and stuff like that and things of that nature. So I completely agree with you 100%.
When the younger generation that is in Congress, for example, they are trying to bring forth bills and stuff, but they're always like
they're all shot
smashed
down.
And they're always shut down.
It's one thing too. It's one thing to shoot down a bill, but they not only shoot down the bill, but they ostracize it too. They're like, "Oh, do you see what this crazy person just put up? He said that we should legalize the same establishments they have in Germany. That's crazy. What the heck?" Like it's literally, it's they all. Oh my god, literally, it's so cringe that people think like that. But Lissy,
right?
No, I'm just wondering if you're running out of time for this last video or not.
Oh,
maybe. Just
not
asking.
Yet. Not yet.
Okay. What I wanted to say to the topic, I'm like, don't matter if you're a dude or a girl or whatever gender, do whatever floats your boat. Just be sure and not going out in the rain without raincoat and rubber boots. That's all I think about. And S workers is to be an S worker is a fine job like anything else, and it's a hard job. It's like building houses or stuff like that. It's all body work, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I think about, and they should get health insurance and all that stuff too, because it's a hard body job.
Absolutely.
Haben die doch.
Not all.
As far as I know, at least in legal establishment, they have health insurance and all that stuff.
For me, it's all fine. What the fuck? I don't know the right grammar right now. As long as it's no forced work.
Yeah, consensual.
It has to be consensual.
Except from that, it's all okay. And yeah, like I said, everyone should do whatever they want. And about sex ed, what German Schokolade's mom said, at least at my place, my sex ed already began in the 3rd or 4th grade, but it was just about how babies are made inside the body, about the whole stuff. And about protection and all that we got to learn in the 6th grade or 7th? No, 6th. I'm sure 6th. But yeah, I'm so lucky that we have this year, this Aufklärung.
Like information and pretty much of like, that's
Sex ed is Aufklärung.
Oh yeah, sex ed's Aufklärung. Yeah. We had something similar in the same age bracket that you were talking about. But I feel like I was fortunate enough to be in a school where they did teach us how to use protection and what different, diseases were and whatnot. Although I do feel like they tried to push it in one direction, they did inform us on how to be safe in, every possible way. However, most schools in America are not like that. They will be like, hey, just don't do it, which I feel like telling a teenager to not do something is the worst way to teach a teenager anything.
Yes.
Because they're in their rebellious phase. They already don't like you. So why would you tell them to not do something? Teach them how to do it responsibly. Like if my parents told me not to do something, I would be quick to do it because they told me not to do it. And I'm like, all right, well, now I'm doing it. I didn't want to, I had no interest in it before, but you told me I specifically can't do that thing. So I'm going to do it and then learn the hard way. I mean, there's no explanation as to why. There's no explanation as to, is there a safe way to do it? What are my options? And boom, much like, teenagers and the whole drugs thing, like drugs are bad, like in every way, shape and form. They can feel good though, and people don't talk about that. On the show that you guys have probably been hearing, that's been making waves across Twitter and the world, Euphoria. People who have a shallow view on that show will think that that show is glorifying the use of those things, but it's not. It's showing you the wholesome view.
It's the
of
hard
the
truth.
Exactly. It makes people feel very good, but the after effects are detrimental. It ruins friendships. It ruins relationships with family. Very intimate relationships. It destroys yourself as a person. And until you wean yourself off of it, it can take control of your entire life if you let it. And that's what that show was trying to show. But people who have surface level thinking, and of course you have these tabloids that don't want people to think outside of the box because it makes more money to think within a certain limit, right? Push this narrative and people eat it up. So I get it.
I forgot one thought about all this. One thing when it's not okay too for me when you start cheating with
that,
stuff
yes,
and all that.
absolutely, yeah.
So
I was gonna bring that up too.
No force, no cheating, and as long as these two rules are in it, it's totally fine. But next to hell and back, do you want to share some thoughts about it?
Sure, since I actually had I don't know how you say it, I guess a conference or something with someone out of that industry in my free social year I did.
Oh, wow. You had an interview?
Yeah, we were a few people that were all doing the free social year for 1 year, and we had someone come over to have a talk about the topic with us that worked in that industry. So.
That's so cool.
That's pretty awesome. Like, what happened? Like, so what from what you've heard, like what we've been talking about, like, what's your opinion based on the conversation you had?
That the industry is not as clean as it looks from the outside, is what she told us. Well, she was not working in it anymore for a few years, but she was really deep into that thing, and it looks good from the outside, and if everything is made right and is to the law and legal, it's fine, and I have no problem with it, because the women can choose whatever they want to do. If they want to do that, it's fine. The guys choose they want to do that, both agree, it's fine. I don't care, do whatever. But in most parts, it's not as good as it looks from the outside. There's still a bunch of shady things going on that no one hears about and no one sees about. So that's my biggest problem with it. If it would be all but going right like the law says, there's no problem, but sadly it isn't. And we don't hear about that stuff. Just sometimes in the news you have it, okay, this place has been shut down because there was stuff going on. It's not often, but we also don't have that many establishments, I think. So
and that's the thing. It's just about establishing it more and getting it controlled more by the state and all this.
True.
yeah,
Establishing it more in the Gesellschaft.
yeah, but
Society.
Society,
Yeah.
thank you. And yeah, like I said, more controlling and all this. We are better than America, of course, about it, but it's on the right way, but we're not on the final where it's perfect work space and all that.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And the worker also would said she sometimes gets booked for some stuff, and then when she's there, people say, okay, we're gonna do totally different stuff now.
Whoa,
and
yeah.
then she's already there, and she's like, well, can't do shit
Breaking
now
the
because I
contract.
need the freaking money. I have to feed my kids and stuff, and then she actually does things she didn't want to do.
Fuck.
It was shit work and shit
So in
treatment
that
a lot
moment
of the time.
yeah. So in that moment, she wasn't very protected.
Yeah, sure. Who's gonna
Yeah.
protect her? No one, because no one
Because
would
then
care that's around her.
Because the thing is too, if you think about it, because she could say no, and then they'll be like, "All right, cool, I guess we're leaving." But then, like, you brought up something very key, right? She's like, "Well, she needs the money," and she's like, "Well, I've been making money doing this for so long, so it was good. It was good when I had like all the protections before, but I might have to make an exception to do this one thing just to make sure that I get money, because if that's like being a server, but instead of relying on tips, like you're relying on people individually, like paying you and stuff like that. I'm not sure if you get a salary. Maybe you get a salary and maybe the people who pay you are like the tips. I don't know how that works, but I mean, you got, but yeah, like it's like, oh, cool. What if these guys are like paying you a lot of money to do one thing, and then like they switch at the last minute, and you're like, fuck, I can only get that money if I do this. I could turn them away and lose it, or I can do this, not like it, but still get paid. And it feels shitty because the people that are there, you tell, they're like, oh, well, you don't have to do that at all. You're like, yeah, you're right, I don't have to do that. But then you're like, I need the money. And then that's where the whole thing kind of comes into play, and it feels really scummy. So it's crazy.
Yuki, do you have something to add to this? Is Yuki even here?
Well, I have one simple thing. I don't think anyone has really a problem with it in Germany.
Yeah.
But no one also looks at someone who goes in there like, hey, he's the greatest guy ever. It's also a bit, I guess, frowned upon is the word I'm looking for. That people are going there like, why does he have to go there? Can't he just get a girl in the club? What is his problem or something? No one would say that out loud, I believe, but that's also what a lot of people think, I guess.
The difference is when you go to a club or anywhere and pick up any woman, any man, doesn't matter. You are buying
a bunch of extra things as well.
It's like the Germans saying, die Katze im Sack kaufen, buying the cat in the bag. You don't know what awaits you. You don't know if the person likes the same stuff and all that. But if you go in a location like in an establishment like this, you can choose, and hopefully they have a girl, a woman, or a man that fits your kinds of likings.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mostly. So
yeah,
there you have the choice. So if you have the money left for it and you want to get what you want, why don't do it? Instead of buying the cat in the bag.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's like watching, the P word, but with interactivity, obviously. You can choose whatever you want, but it's like, all right, cool. Except you're like, you could literally choose whatever you want and do whatever you want there, like within their guidelines. Yuki, are you there? I haven't heard
Doesn't seem like it.
No, he's AFK. Tuwinda,
I'm going to bed now. It was a really nice evening, and I wish you all a good night.
Thank you for being in
Same
here.
to
I
you.
really appreciate that. You take care. Have a good one.
Sleep well.
Have a good night. Sleep well. Schlaf gut. Twindy, do you
just call me Julian? It's easier.
Julian, all right, yeah, man, you're right. What's your opinion on it?
Well, for me personally, when I see someone walks in that kind of establishment, like, for me, it's like, I don't care. I don't give a damn at all. And for me, it's like, in general, as long as it's on a legal way and they, like, do it on the way the law says to do it, it's all cool. If it's kind of shady and all that stuff, it's like, maybe not. And story time, it was like a few years ago. I was like 18, 19, something like this. I was kind of, let's say, forced to walk in one of these establishments,
Oh,
No, that
but not as a customer, just as a, I don't know. I was just
Peer
like,
visitor to look, just watching, no touching.
no, not really, because I was out with a few friends and we were just partying and all that stuff.
mhm.
And it was like 3 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Yep.
We were all drunk, and one of us, he was like, "Damn, I'm drunk." So, yeah, and we were like, "So what?" And he was like, "Always when I'm drunk, I have my special needs."
Oh,
One
And-
question: Was
Yeah.
it an establishment just for this, or was it a
Yeah.
strip club beside?
No. It was a
and-
special
okay.
establishment for the
Yeah.
only thing.
Because there are strip
Yeah,
clubs
yeah,
which
yeah.
offer this too. So
Yeah, but it was
that's what I
just
was
the
curious
establishment
about.
for the one
Okay.
certain thing.
mhm.
And we were there like I said, it's like 3, 4 a.m. in the morning. He was like, dude, are you serious now? Yeah, I have my needs now. And
Damn.
we were like, okay, cool. So everyone just opened Google and looked for the next establishment.
Jesus.
And we drove there, all 4 or 5 guys in one car.
Mhm.
And only one guy had that need. And the rest of us were like, okay, damn, we don't want to sit in the car now. So we just walk in and sit inside where it's warm and we can have a drink or coffee or whatever.
You just
and
hear
wait
like
for him.
clapping, and
Yeah.
it wasn't like an audience or whatever. You're like, oh shit.
No.
Okay.
And we were
They
sitting
all,
there.
they
He was
all went
walking
with
around
the
and
emergency
picked one
horny
worker.
Whoa.
I mean, he was like
When-
walking around and picking one worker.
Uh-huh.
And we were sitting there and just drank a coffee and or water or whatever. And
Mhm.
all the workers are walking by and try to lure us in their rooms. And we were all like, "Nah, girl, no, please not." Because the ladies there were,
Well, they look good.
Just
we
say
can say
not
that.
your type.
yeah, let's say not. They
Oh.
were not just our type, okay? Let's
Yeah.
say it like this.
Okay.
But in general, that feeling was kind of, I don't know, filthy a little bit. Because actually, we just sitting there and drinking water, and they were just trying to lure us in for stuff we were
Oh.
not wanted to do at that certain moment.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But,
just salesmanship for them.
Yeah,
They need to get
basically.
customers. The more they learn, the more money they make. That's
You're
simple.
right. That
It's
makes
like a
sense.
car dealer trying to sell you a car.
You're right.
Yeah.
I had an
But in
idea.
general, for me, it's like fine as long as they play after the rules and all that stuff. Even though if I would see an old teacher of mine walking in there, I was like, okay, cool, have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Had an idea. How about calling this establishments dessert shops?
dessert shops. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. That's a good title. The entire time we've been talking, I'm like, how do I like title this video where it's clickbait enough where people will definitely click on this, but it's not towing the line? Because I was gonna type in,
It could also be a golf shop, like a hole-in-one.
but they won't get that. The golf shop won't get clicks.
That's too far off.
Probably.
Yeah, dessert
What
shops.
German-
Store.
What Germans think about dessert shops?
Yes, exactly. What Germans really
It
think
will
about
be
dessert shops.
so confusing as soon as the people are a little bit more into the video.
Yeah, exactly.
Pick a real clickbaity picture of the Reeperbahn or something.
Yes. Also, I'm going to read 2 comments and I'm going to conclude the video. First thing, Brazelman says regarding cheating, this is a complicated one because is it really cheating? For example, if you love your partner, real and true, but you might have a kink your partner couldn't or won't fulfill because they're not comfortable with it. This could be detrimental for the relationship, but if there is a relief, then it might be okay. So, of course, it's something you have to talk with your partner and whatnot, which I also think brings up a sub point, which I'll kind of like go through really quick, and it's different from person to person, but let's entertain that what you just said. Let's say there is a kink that you are into that your partner is absolutely not, because there has been stuff like that in past relationships that I've been a part of, and I'm like, ooh, I'm into this, and they're like, ooh, no, I'm not into that at all, or vice versa, and I'm like, ooh, no, I'm not into that at all. If there's a place that they can go, it's legal, and they can relieve themselves there, right, for the thing that you can't provide, would you feel bad about that? A lot of people would instantly say, of course they would feel bad about that because, you know, their partner's not getting pleasure from them. But the thing is, if you're not pleasuring your partner to the fullest, don't you feel like, and it's shitty to say this, but at some point, don't you feel like they would get that satisfaction elsewhere? Not everybody's like that. So of course not, but it can be very frustrating for something like that. Then the second thing I want to kind of touch on, because I'm just skimming through that really quick, just something to put in your the back of your minds. Like, you guys can obviously comment on it and whatnot, but second thing, Dave from Germany says, to clarify, the official places, quote unquote, or dessert shops, are not like animal markets. Imagine like a bar. You go in, you pay for drinks for the girls you like, and if they like you back, they will choose you, quote unquote. Usually a lot of those places scam you with a huge bar receipt plus the service. It's not like going in, not going in, choose from a catalog, go to the room, depending on the service you want. She will make the price, and if you make problems, they will kick you out without pants. Whoa. Wow, you're right. Most of those places that are run are pretty secure. By biker gangs like Hell's Angels and Bandito. Oh my gosh. You see college professors walking in sometimes too. That's crazy.
The beautiful place in the world. I wasn't say so.
Oh.
I don't know where it is, but it's very beautiful here.
Oh. Is it about what we're talking about?
Nah, but
I'm trying to like wrap up the video so we could like stay on the thing really quick. I hate to be so pushy, but let's stick to this really quick. So yeah, I mean, exactly. Brazelman says it's if no harm is done to others, then that's fine. But that's why it's kind of a complicated situation. So I guess tapping back into that last piece that Brazelman was saying makes a lot of sense that establishment should be there for those very reasons. I feel like it would help a lot of relationships in a way, like for that reason, in that small aspect. But I still do think that partners would be jealous, especially if you introduce something that new to America. Like if that was a new thing that got legalized and then people were able to visit those establishments, you have a predominantly conservative couple. They do like, you know, more the basic stuff in the bedroom, I guess, right? Boom. But then one person wants to do some wild experimental stuff. They obviously love each other. Every other aspect of the relationship is solid except for that one. And they're like, you know what? I don't want to do this because I don't feel comfortable. So you don't just do something despite your partner telling you they're not comfortable, because that's obviously fucked up, and there's a word for that. Instead, there's an establishment. There's people there. There's people who are probably willing to do that at that establishment. You don't have to waste time, pretty much. I mean, obviously, the person was saying that, you know, in a lot of those establishments, you have to buy them a drink and go through the whole song and dance. So, yeah, to a degree, maybe you do. But you can cut to the chase and be like, boom, this is what I want, you know, and kind of get your fill for whatever that is there. It is a very dotted line to kind of like talk about, though, because I do understand that can be mildly triggering for some people, because it's like, why would my partner want to get pleasure from anybody but me? And I think it's pretty obvious, if you're not doing everything your partner wants, then they might have a desire to kind of like, you know, find a way to incorporate what they want with what works for you, you know? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh.
I think my opinion, if I would be jealous about something like that, I would feel less danger in our relationship if my partner pays for that stuff instead of searching for not a woman that not works for this.
Exactly, because there's a process for this, for doing it without paying for it. You have to like talk to them, and then of course like people aren't just gonna give up cheeks like the first time you text and stuff like that.
I would rather choose that he gets this need satisfied from an ass worker instead of some random woman. So, yeah.
That makes sense. I agree with that. Well,
and I would be completely chill about it. Same the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
So, as long as we both have the same rights in the relationship and all that,
I agree.
we'll be totally fine.
You know, it's weird. The last thing I'll end off with on this whole topic, there are people here in America, and I have been in an interesting situation before where someone I used to talk to, they wanted it where they could do whatever they wanted and I had to be locked down to them. People want to have their cake and eat it too. If you want to go and do something outside of the relationship and the other person wants to do the same thing as well, and you guys both agree on it, cool. But if you want to do something outside the relationship, your partner wants to do something outside the relationship, but their parameters, their rules are that you can't. You have to stay committed to them in every way, and you can't do anything, but they can do whatever they want. That's where the relationship ends, because why are you able to do something and they can't, even though you guys desire the same things? You know, it's selfish as hell. And I feel like people that think like that have a lot to work on in the inside, you know, because it's like a mental thing.
It's a thing I spoke about a lot with many friends of mine, and most of my male friends were like, when I said something like an open relationship and stuff like that, when we discussed it, just because it was the topic was going in the direction when we sat together, they were like, yeah, I could imagine that for myself, but I would be too jealous to allow this to my girlfriend. And I was like, it's
like a hypocrite.
Douchebag.
Yeah, it's like a hypocrite, like 100% hypocritical. Like there's people that are like that though. I'm like, listen, like I'm telling you, I am a person about being even. If you're doing some crazy stuff and I also want to do crazy stuff, then guess who's also going to do crazy stuff? Your boy. Yeah. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, man. I know it's a longer video, but I think this is a very enriching and eye-opening and thought-provoking video that we need to kind of talk about, because I feel like these are conversations that get shut down very quickly by very closed-minded people. And I feel like this is a very interesting topic to kind of expand and open, because there's a lot of labels that you can throw all around blindly and stuff like that without really looking into the reasons why people want to do what they want to do. For instance, why would someone else want to sleep with somebody else, right? You know, if they have a partner that fulfills pretty much, not everything, but pretty much everything that they've wanted in a relationship. It could simply be because there's a kink that the other partner is not into. So if there's a way to explore that kink with another person that, of course, 1,000% consensual on every single side, you know, especially at an establishment that we were talking about, why not? You know, so let me know what your thoughts and feelings are in the comments down below. I have an idea of what people might say, but at the same time, I could be very surprised. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you guys, and goodbye.